About a week ago, the Quest 3 was announced, and I'm sure you guys have seen probably a lot of other videos talking about it, but what I wanted to do for this one is just go over everything that we've gleaned from all the coverage that's been going on to just give you kind of a definitive look at what exactly we know about the Quest 3 as of right now. Let's start with price and availability. As you may already know, the Quest 3 is set to launch in fall of this year, 2023. When exactly is that going to be happening? Well, MetaConnect is happening on September 27th, and so it's looking like it could release right around that time, the end of September, or more likely it's going to be in October. The Quest 2, it originally launched on October 13th of 2020, so that could kind of give us an idea of when the Quest 3 is going to launch. It might be around that same time, around mid-October, something like that. The price, you probably already know this too, it's slated to release for $499. And they say that that is the starting price. It's going to start at $499, or we'll just call it $500. I don't know 100% for sure if they've verified if that's a 128 gigabyte model, but that seems to be what most people are saying, is that's going to be a 120 gigabyte storage model for $500. And since they've said it's the starting price, I don't know if Meta has officially, what's the word I'm looking for? If they've officially confirmed that there's going to be a 256 gig model, but everybody's kind of speculating that that is what the other model is going to be, similar with the Quest 2 right now. Who knows? It could be 512. And at the same time, we also don't know the price of those higher storage models, whether it's going to be $550 or if it's going to be $600. That's all pretty well unknown to us at this point in time, but based off of the pricing strategy for the Quest 2, it's pretty reasonable to think that that's what we're looking at there with when it comes to the storage options and the pricing for it. As for the physical design of the Quest 3, I'm sure you guys have seen videos and renders and stuff of it by now and know what it looks like, and also probably know that it is 40% slimmer than the Quest 2. A lot of people have kind of pointed out that the nice thing about that is, since it doesn't stick out as far from your face, it actually feels lighter weight. And the weight is one of the things I have later on my outline here, but it feels lighter, even though it is slightly heavier than the Quest 2. I mean, only by a few grams. It's really not that much heavier, but it feels lighter because it's not sticking out as far, therefore it's not putting downward pressure as gravity pulls on it on your face. As I'm sure you've seen, there's the 3 pill-shaped things on the front. In 2 of them, the 2 outside ones, there are 2 sets of cameras in each one of those pills. There's a 4 megapixel color camera in each of those, which is for the new pass-through. And then the other camera is just a regular infrared camera that is used for controller tracking and stuff like that. The middle pill, as you probably know, contains a depth sensor, and this is to help improve the hand tracking, the controller tracking, and improve the pass-through as well, so that you get a nice sense of depth when you're looking at the environment around you through the headset. People that know a bit more about this technology than I do have said that this will also assist with the Guardian system. So instead of having to set it up manually like you do now on the Quest 2, it'll be more automatic, like the way the PSVR 2 does it, where you just look around the room, it scans your room, and determines your playable area for you. You can, of course, then edit it down to whatever you want your actual playable area to be manually, but it's still pretty cool that that's going to be taken care of for us more automatically here going forward. And speaking of the pass-through is said to be greatly improved. I've seen stuff that says that it is going to be rendering 10 times the pixels of the pass-through on the Quest 2. If you've seen that, you know how fuzzy and blurry and pretty terrible it looks. So things are supposed to be looking way, way better. There was a journalist with Bloomberg, I think his name was Mark Gurman. In his hands-on with the Quest 3, he said he was able to actually read the time on his watch through the pass-through, as well as even send text messages from his phone, which, if you've tried it on the Quest 2, you know that that is not possible on the Quest 2. You cannot read anything on your phone using the Quest 2's pass-through. Me personally, I don't know how interested I really am in mixed reality or augmented reality experiences, but at the same time, I certainly don't mind trying them out, and maybe there's going to be some really cool, compelling experiences to have with that. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. On the bottom portion of the headset, we have the volume rocker and an IPD adjustment wheel, which is a welcome addition coming from the 3 preset IPD positions on the Quest 2, where you'll be able to dial in your exact IPD. There's some contacts on the bottom, which people have been speculating is probably for a charging dock accessory of some kind. That hasn't been officially announced or confirmed yet, but it seems pretty reasonable to think that's what it's for. And then we have 2 IR tracking cameras. As for things that have been confirmed not to be on the Quest 3, there is no face tracking and there is no eye tracking, which is something that I'm kind of disappointed about, because having used the PSVR 2, which does have eye tracking, and kind of just getting a taste for what that's like, it's something that I was really hoping would make its way to the Quest 3, but sadly that is not happening right now. Maybe that's something that's going to come with the Quest 4, but it's probably quite a bit too early to be even thinking about the Quest 4. The Quest 3 hasn't even launched yet. The facial interface appears to be much improved. It seems Meta has learned from their mistake of the sweat sponge on the Quest 2 that was causing people's faces to like break out in rashes and stuff like that. I haven't seen anything definitive at this point, but from the renders, it looks like the Quest 3's facial interface is going to be made of a more impermeable material. Hopefully it'll be comfortable. I guess we'll kind of have to wait on that and try it for ourselves. The facial interface is still removable, just like on the Quest 2, so you're going to have other companies like Kiwi and Bobo and VR Cover, and I'm sure I'm missing like a host of other companies that all make facial interfaces for the Quest 2. You'll be able to buy those and use those if you prefer. The Headstrap is also being touted as being a significant upgrade or improvement over the Quest 2's Headstrap, which, as you guys know, it was pretty terrible. I think one of the biggest selling aftermarket upgrades for the Quest 2 is an improved Headstrap. So, again, we're going to kind of have to wait and see if the Headstrap on the Quest 3 is as good as Meta is claiming. But just from what I've seen, I'm thinking I'm going to immediately want to take that thing off and get something better on it. It hasn't been confirmed that the Headstrap is removable, but it certainly appears to be. If you look at the renders when they show the Quest 2 side by side with the Quest 3, and you can see the arms that the Headstrap attaches to, it looks very similarly designed to the Quest 2, where the Headstrap should be able to pop off and you should be able to replace it. More than likely, Meta is going to have their own upgraded Elite strap for the Quest 3, just like they did with the Quest 2, which will then allow all the other companies that have been making head straps for the Quest 2 also jump on the bandwagon, and those are also, I'm sure, going to be available. Sadly, none of our favorite head straps from the Quest 2 are going to be compatible with the Quest 3, though, because, as you can see, the placement of the charging port kind of gets in the way. And it also appears that the arms the headband mounts onto are a little bit longer on the Quest 3. So yeah, if you're not happy with the stock headband, you are going to have to buy a completely new one. Now getting into some of the more juicy tech specs. The processor in the Quest 3 is the Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2, which Meta is saying has 2 times the GPU performance of the Snapdragon XR2 Gen 1, which is in the Quest 2. So we're talking about a significant amount of performance increase over the Quest 2. It's pretty exciting. I'm very, very curious to see just what this new chip is capable of. As for the displays in the Quest 3, there hasn't been any official word that I know of from Meta yet on what exactly is in the Quest 3. However, they did say the displays in the Quest 3 are higher resolution than those of the Quest 2. According to industry leaks, the resolution of the Quest 3 is 2064 by 2208 per eye. Compare that to the Quest 2 at 1832 by 1920 pixels per eye. As for the type of display being used, again, this is all off of leaks. It's not official word from Meta. People are saying that it is an LCD panel similar to that of the Quest 2. And it's also not known at this point if they're using a single display like in the Quest 2 or if they're using 2 displays, one for each eye. Some of the stuff I've seen suggests that it's going to be 2 separate displays, but again, that's all unconfirmed at this point. As for the refresh rate of the display, it is rumored that it is going to be a 120 Hz refresh rate, which is not unreasonable. The Quest 2 is capable of refresh rates up to 120 Hz as well, so the Quest 3 being at least that same refresh rate makes complete and total sense. Another feature of the Quest 3 that you're probably already aware of is it's going to use Pancake lenses rather than Fresnel lenses like on the Quest 2. I personally have never used Pancake lenses, and I am super excited to try it because everybody talks about how great they are. The clarity of them is way better than Fresnel lenses. The field of view on the Quest 3 is said to be about the same as the Quest 2. That's another kind of disappointing little tidbit. That actually came from Andrew Bosworth himself, the chief technology officer at Meta, so that is not industry leaks or speculation in any way. He straight up said it in the AMA that he hosted, saying that the field of view is about exactly the same as the Quest 2. The Quest 2's field of view is fine, but I was hoping to get a little wider, field of view, but it is what it is. Another question that Andrew Bosworth fielded was the battery life of the Quest 3. People asked, what is the battery life like? And he said that it's about the same as the Quest 2. So again, we're looking at about 2 hours of battery life, but when you consider that you're getting about 2 times the performance out of the processor in the Quest 3, that's pretty good that you're going to get double the performance and still have the same amount of battery life. One of the things that I assumed it would be able to do, but I was also curious about and wanted to know is, does the Quest 3 support PC VR? And the answer is, of course, yes. They are not going to change that. That is not going away. You will still be able to either use a link cable or connect to a PC using AirLink wirelessly. So I'm super excited for that. The Quest 3 supports Wi-Fi 6E, which is super exciting for people like me who like to use AirLink. And, well, if you happen to have a Wi-Fi 6E router, which I do not. But that just means that you're going to have more bandwidth to work with, which should mean that you're going to be able to get better visuals when streaming content through AirLink and stuff. I talked a little bit about the weight of the Quest 3 at the beginning of this, and this is not official stats from Meta or anything. This has come through a developer who exactly, I have no idea, but it's rumored to be 509 grams, which is about 1.12 pounds. So it's slightly heavier than the Quest 2, which weighs 503 grams. One of the things I was not able to find anything that talked about it was the sound quality on the Quest 3. At this point, we have no idea if the speakers are the same as on the Quest 2 or if they're better or what. That's one of those things we're just going to have to wait on. And now for what seems to be kind of like the hottest topic of discussion around the Quest 3, and that is the controllers. As you probably saw, the controllers are missing their tracking rings. They look very much like the Quest Pro controllers, but they are conspicuously missing the cameras that the Quest Pro controllers have on them. So everybody is wondering, how are these things being tracked exactly? In the AMA with Andrew Bosworth, he actually confirmed that there are infrared tracking lights in the controller. Where exactly, he didn't specify, but he did say that oftentimes these infrared tracking lights are going to be occluded by your hands. So they are also using the depth sensor to track your hands. In so many words, they basically have said that they have greatly improved the hand tracking of the Quest 3 to the point where they're able to combine the tracking of the infrared lights along with your hand tracking so that you get very, very good tracking. This, of course, coming directly from a Meta representative, it makes you a little suspicious. It's kind of like, how good is it really? Thankfully, there have been a few other people that have chimed in. Yaroslav Beck, I think I'm pronouncing that right, the co-founder of Beat Games that makes Beat Saber, he responded to people on Twitter asking, what is the tracking like? And his exact words were, it's good, don't worry. Also, there was a Meta engineer named Misha Davidov, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, and then she said that the Quest 3 controllers have passed the Beat Saber Expert Plus test. If you can use them on Beat Saber on Expert Plus, if they track well enough for that, you're doing pretty good. As for what type of batteries the Quest 3 controllers are going to use, whether they're built-in rechargeables or AA's, it appears that they're going to be AA's. I haven't seen anything that confirms this for sure, but just looking at the renders, it appears that there is a battery door that you'll be able to slide off similar to the Quest 2. Personally, I have no problem with this at all. I actually prefer my Quest 2 controllers over my Quest Pro controllers because the Quest Pro controllers, they just don't last that long. I mean, it feels like half the time when I'm going to use them, they're dead or almost dead, and I got to charge them up. The nice thing with the Quest 2, with the battery, you know, if it's dead, you pop the battery out, pop a new one in, and you're good to go. So, yeah, anyway, that's the battery situation. If you happen to own Quest Pro controllers and would like to use them with the Quest 3, they are going to be fully compatible. Also, the Quest 3 controllers are going to have the Tru-Touch Haptics, very much like the Quest Pro controllers. I've always felt that the haptics in the Quest 2 controllers were pretty underwhelming. The Quest Pro ones are a pretty big upgrade. So yeah, that's exciting that we'll be getting much improved haptics for the Quest 3. I just wish they'd put a rumble motor in the headset itself, like the PSVR 2. For anyone that's used the PSVR 2, you know how cool having that little bit of rumble in the headset can be in certain situations. The other thing that I wish would have been like the PSVR 2 is adaptive triggers in the controllers. The adaptive triggers are just, they just add that little icing on the cake. And not having them on the Quest 3 is pretty disappointing, but I don't know, maybe that's a technology that Sony has patented and stuff, so nobody else is able to use it. But anyhow, I don't know about you guys, but I am super excited to try out the Quest 3 when it launches this fall. Yes, there is some things that weren't included that I had hoped would be, like eye tracking and the headset haptics and the adaptive triggers on the controllers, but everything else is sounding really cool. I am super stoked to see just how powerful the new processor is and what we're going to be able to get out of standalone VR. What are you guys most excited about for the Quest 3? Or is there anything that I missed? Is there stuff that's super exciting about the Quest 3 that I completely neglected to talk about in this video? I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I know that there was a lot of it that is very repetitive from all the other stuff that's been reported. Maybe all of it was repetitive to you. Maybe you already know everything. But I hope there was at least one or two little nuggets that are new to you and found interesting or exciting. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys next time. See you later. Subscribe!